you say, John?
We're doing it.
Welcome to Bubbleman's world, everybody. We are in St. Catharines, Jamaica, and I don't know if John and I could be any happier.
I'm eating fresh fruit.
You've got a breadfruit right behind you. You've got mangoes. I see tomatoes down there. It's covered. The yard is covered in beautiful fruit trees. This is definitely a good vibe place, and we're happy to have about a pound of some beautiful sun-grown Jamaican ganja. That's sun-grown, tropical-grown glandular trichome heads for the Bubbleman and John to isolate using our water and ice extraction method. So John's been helping me for the last year or so, and he's a good assistant and an even better friend. So.
And I can tell you right now, I've been puffing on this herb, and it is killer. I got a great buzz from it. Great medical effect. So awesome. Can't wait to get this resin in this.
We brought the originals.
Nice.
Yeah, we brought the original bags. Most of you out there know that we have 3 levels of bags. We got our lights, our inexpensive model to get the newbie non-hash maker, or perhaps the guy that's kind of lost his way and he's gone towards this making oil with chemical solvents. The exposure is negative. The potential of blowing yourself up and burning your skin off your body is definitely there. And this is ital. This is in Jamaica. This is ital. There's no chemicals. This is just water and ice. So this is what we're here to do today. Isolate some resin glands. I'm gonna put the bags in the bucket and get this started. I so wish I could be joining you right now.
I know, but see, the best part of what is
I haven't smoked cannabis for 13 years because I smoke exclusively hash. I only smoke the active ingredient in the plant. And every once in a while, like in this particular situation where I have no hash, I'm feeling it a little bit.
Are you feeling it a little bit? Well, you know what? I'm definitely feeling it because it's very tasty.
Yeah, it smells great. So we're going to start with the 25 micron bag. We've got a bunch of people here and behind the camera. They're going to stay off camera, but I'm basically kind of talking to them while I'm talking to you guys.
We're teaching them.
Yeah, we're educating them, and then we're also learning ourselves because we're out of our normal environment. So we are in a high humidity, high heat, warm water environment. The herb, everything's different. A couple months ago, was it a couple months ago we were in Barcelona?
Yeah.
Okay, so a couple months ago, John and I were in Barcelona, Spain, and we were making some hash there. You guys probably remember we met with Javier from Medical Seeds. We met from David from Ripper Seeds. We went inside the guys at Hemp Quarters, and we made hash all over the place. I mean, man, we must have run through 5 pounds of hash while we were in Barcelona, or 5 pounds of herb.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
100%.
So I think we're going to break that record here in Jamaica.
Oh, we're breaking records here in Jamaica, guys.
We've been here for half the day, and we're already running our first batch, which I have to say, I come quite often, and it's always, you know, you're not just going to land and just go make hash. You land, and then you kind of go get like go eat some ital food, and then you go and you look for buckets, and everyone's got a bucket, but not so much available for you to have. So it took us a couple hours to find the buckets, and we got those, so that's great.
We're 5 hours in, and we're making hash.
Yeah, exactly. So the herb was completely easy. I've never had that be easier. I usually have to go out and really sort of put my nose to the ground. I have a bit of an olfactory that's very sensitive to cannabis and terpenes and smells, and so I'm able to find extremely good cannabis wherever I go using those tools at my disposal. So when I hear people say, oh, I went to Jamaica and the herb was so terrible, what I say to those people is, that's just what you could find. That was what your personality brought to you. You didn't put the right vibe out there, so you didn't get the right herb. You know, I don't know what to say, but try to find the right vibes, you'll find the right herb in Jamaica. It's about that simple.
Oh, and the vibes here are amazing.
Yeah, we got good
So I don't know
vibes.
how you did find it.
All right, here's a 45 micron bag for you, Johnny.
There you go, sir. I'm going to reach over there and give you a hand, but
So-
I'm sitting here watching.
What we're doing here, for everyone watching, because they've potentially never seen this procedure before, is we're stacking a sieve stack. This is like mining for gold. This is like, if you think of, these are screens, and they have holes in them. And the smallest screen, the bottom, the purple, is a 25 micron. And a micron is a measurement increment that is extremely small. Your hair, for instance, is 7 microns in diameter. It's very, very small, smaller than we can see with our eyes. So we start with a 25, we go up with a 45, and each screen size from here on out is going to get bigger. And why that makes sense is because the holes need to be big, and then small, and then smaller, and then smaller. And what that does is it allows us, once we've separated off the material, once we've mixed all the ganja and the resin has broken free and sunk in the water, all we're going to do is pull these bags one by one and clean out the hash that's left on the bottom of the screen. There are variables to pay attention to. We want to make sure our water is extremely cold. This would have been better if we even left it in the freezer. If you have a freezer and it's sitting right there, or a fridge, of course have it in there right up until the moment that you put everything in the buckets and you start mixing. That's going to be helpful. When you understand the process, and I've sort of given these guys a little bit of a lowdown on the glandular trichome. The glandular trichome, of course, is the little part of the cannabis plant that we all love. It's why they sing songs about it. It's why we promote it. It's why we wear ganja leaves. It's why we gather. It's why people go to Amsterdam. It's people come to Jamaica. I mean, really, that is the reason. This is an incredible plant. Don't get me wrong. The industrial properties of hemp, we know, have 50,000 commercial products, from anything from plastics to hempcrete to hemp metals. The amino acid-rich essential oil secreting seeds are second to none. They contain all 8 essential amino acids that our bodies need but can't produce, including the 3 for children. So this is basically a whole food. Hemp is the perfect food. They say, actually, that it's second only to breast milk. I'm not sure about you, but I'm done with breast milk. I'm sticking to hemp seed oil.
Hemp seeds, I love them.
Yeah, you can't get, I mean, they were good enough for Buddha. Yeah. Right? How long did the Buddha survive on hemp seeds? 1 hemp seed a day.
That's it?
Yeah, for like a very, very, very long time. Check out the story. I'm not a Buddhist, but Buddha seemed like a pretty cool guy, I have to admit. You read into what he was all about, and I mean, it's hard to kind of be anti-Buddha. All right, so 73, this is the gold bag, and this is just what you guys would think. What do you think about gold? We love the gold. Not the gold as in gold from the ground, but the sun, the gold, the red, gold, and green. The gold does not represent gold in the red, gold, and green. We all know that. So this gold, I made it the 73 micron bag. This is the year that I was born in, 1973. And when I first made these bags, the 73 bag was the favorite. It was the favorite. It still is, to a point, the favorite. But I got the black bag, and the black bag is superior, in my opinion, in every way. This is my favorite bag. This is the bag. This is the resin that I personally prefer almost out of any strains. Aside from perhaps a landrace sativa, a tropical sun-grown sativa that isn't going to grow short and stout, but it's going to grow very tall with a very thin leaf as opposed to a broad indica leaf. And it's going to produce heads that produce a different cannabinoid profile. And what a cannabinoid profile is, for the gentlemen all sitting here, is the cannabinoid profile is the profile of everything we love about ganja inside that glandular trichome head that I was showing you guys earlier on. That glandular trichome head has terpenes, which are smells, terpenoids, which are tastes. So, I mean, obviously, those are the things we love. Everyone loves squeezing the herb and giving it a smell. I mean, that's like the precursor to smoking and getting irie, is to smell your ganja. You know, walking through the forest, if you've ever approached a big ganja field, getting hit with that, the smell of that, is a potentially spiritual event. I'll say that much about it. So let's get our black bag in there with the yellow. And we're going to go from that. I don't even think I'm going to bend them over the bucket, John.
Oh.
You looking at some beauty there?
I'm looking at how beautiful these trichomes look, and like Mark was talking about with the sun-grown tropical sativas, these resin heads are so small, but just so amazing. Yeah. And once again, look at that plant. So definitely very different here, grown
different soil, different environment, different humidity.
It's something that I've never seen up close like this. I'm used to growing indicas, of course, indoors. We live in Canada, but I mean, definitely when we take a look at this resin, you can tell the difference night and day by just looking at it between outdoor and indoor in Canada, grown here on the equator.
Yeah, we
by
can't
far,
compete.
The 2 joints, I just smoked 2 big fatties. I feel great. I'm motivated. My neck pain. I don't think any of you guys have ever seen me do this.
I think you should roll another one.
Smoke
a third.
Smoke a third. But you know, the best part about this is we take a look at the medicinal effects of sun-grown tropical sativas.
Put that in there.
And I'm pretty much experiencing the great effect of this. So, of course, we're going to try and break all of this off of the stock. We don't want it all on the stock.
How does that feel? We are going to break it down. I just wanted to ask a quick question in regards, because I know you use indica.
That's what I was
talking about. And so we
about.
have indica and we have sativa. And, of course, Rob Clark, the author of Marijuana Botany, as well as a wonderful book called Hashish, one of my mentors, he's actually now talking about Cannabis afghanica. So you can look up that on Google if you want to learn a little bit more about that. And yeah, I don't know, I guess we've now put our 120 bag in and our 160 bag. And I'll explain to you why we're using all these bags. Imagine that some of the glandular trichome heads are the best. And if we can separate them out, and if we can use these larger hold bags in the beginning, because often people say, why do I need all these bags? Can't I just do it with one? This particular bag in particular will filter out contamination. Things that are still small, they're going to break down a little smaller than they should have, and they're still going to sink, whereas everything else, as long as it has a surface area, it'll float in the water. When things get too small, they sink down. This is why I have this bag, and it's also why I have this bag, just to filter out. So generally these two bags will be a medible quality, although here in Jamaica they still actually produce some decent resin. The real magic will be in the orange, the black, and the yellow. And sometimes the white and the purple can really surprise you. So really these three bags are the ones we're going to pay attention to. So imagine we're going to isolate all the resin glands off the plant. So taking a pound, we could be left with as little as 20 grams of resin. That's how much active ingredient is on an actual pound of cannabis. When you extract those 20 grams, we're going to get 20 grams through all the different bags. So if I get 1.5 grams here, that's no good. I don't count that. And if I get another 2 grams here, well, I don't like that either. I don't count that either. So my 20 grams can shrink down incredibly. So once we explain this to the prohibition-based mentality of how much can I get and how fast can I get it, which is where we've kind of been locked with ganja for the last 40 to 50 years, at least in North America and Europe, parts of Asia. It's a how much can I get and how fast can I get it, and we've seen it happen here in Jamaica. When I was coming here in the 90s, it was nothing for me to find the lamb's bread. It was nothing for me to find the land-raised sativas. It was very easy for me to do, and nowadays it's a lot harder. You really have to, you almost have to seek out an elder. You need to go to like a Bobo camp or a Nyabingi camp and find an elder who's had his strain and he's kept it and he still has it, because all the growers, and it's not their fault that they fell into this, because everyone falls into this. They grow these short little sticky stalk plants. They're still very powerful and amazing, and they do grow a wonderful grade of medicine. But if you can imagine, when Babylon had their way and decided we'd make cannabis illegal, part of their trip was to make it a how much can I get and how fast can I get it thing. And what they did is they turned us, the people that believe in this plant, the people that believe in the righteousness and the spirituality of this plant, they turned us into modern day, how much can I get, how fast can I get it? And I can't tell you how many people have this mentality in the cannabis world.
Oh, I see it daily.
And the unfortunate part is that when you shrink down your flowering period to 6 to 8 weeks, as opposed to a sativa, which could easily flower for 3 months, 20 plus weeks you could flower a sativa. So you understand the prohibitionist-based mindset, how much can I get and how fast can I get it, is going to be like, oh man, I don't want to grow that sativa. It takes me 22 weeks to grow that plant from start to finish. I can bang out these indicas in 7 to 8 weeks, boom, 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 boom. While you're doing 1 crop, I've pulled out 3. That's great, but what you're growing is resin, and in that resin is a profile, and that profile is going to offer you a medicinal benefit. And if you can imagine the prohibitionists, as brilliant as they were in their evil, they cut us out from our land-race genetics. The land-race genetics, if you can only understand that this is the equivalent of the world population. And when we took those and we got rid of them and we started getting smaller and smaller and smaller, it's basically inbreeding. It would be the equivalent of going and having a kid with your sister. Don't do it. You won't get good gene structure, you won't produce strong plants, and you won't produce a good medicine. You need to bring traits and phenos in from the gene pool. And this is where landrace comes in. This is where these African sativas and these Indian plants, where they've been making hashish for 8,000 years. These guys have a serious ganja culture. I have been to India. I can attest, these guys, they don't even smoke ganja. If you were to smoke ganja, they would just be so confused by it, because they smoke only the hash that's off the ganja. Now, they still have archaic methods. In fact, they have the most archaic method, because they have the longest history with this plant in any culture on our planet. And what they do is they hand rub the resin, if you can imagine. Here in Jamaica, they do it to an extent, but it's a lot more, I mean, back in the day, I seen it off of sledgehammers that they were hammering into tires. And the ganja, the gum that you could pull off that sledgehammer was incredible. Of course, here in Jamaica, they don't trim with scissors. Scissors are hard to find. Most Jamaicans will use a knife and their thumb, and they'll curl that leaf in and they'll pinch it against their thumb. And it's actually quite impressive. Because the first time I saw it, I thought, wow, that's got to take so much time. Personally, John and I don't even trim our plants, if you can imagine. We only make hash out of them. We go into our grow room, we cut down fresh, beautiful grown plants, and then we throw them in this bucket and we mix it and we make water hash, which is, I guess, what we're going to do right now.
Okay.
Excellent. Last 2 bags.
And before we get rid of all this, I'm going to roll the portion on the side.
Yes, please do that. I like the smell
nice
of it.
enough. Of course, I brought a bunch of my meditators here in Jamaica, and
I think
I'm
it's
passing
great,
them around.
man. Man, people are stoked. Who doesn't love to get a gift, let alone a super cool ganja-oriented gift that can, A, keep the police from harassing you, because the police,
smell it.
you know, they're not the smartest, but they have noses, and this is the problem. We love our stinky cannabis, and it makes it so easy for the police to realize we have it, right? They smell it on us. And even when they don't smell it on us, they lie, and they say they smell it on us. So. All right, so
Are
we got,
we ready?
yeah, we got the 220 in here. What we could start doing is,
I want to start breaking
I'm going to pour this into here, part of it,
Okay.
like about half, and then we'll break the bud into the top of the ice, and then we'll pour more ice and water on top of
Just
it.
like we would do in a bubble bag system, we put the ice on the bottom, and we put the herb on top.
You should not pick this up, John.
I'm not going to. So what we're saying is we always want the ice on the bottom, and then you put the herb on top, and how we do it back at home is we put ice, herb, ice, herb, ice, herb. And that's all in one bag, and then we mix that all together because we want to get the most out of it, right? So once again, we're trying to keep this as cold as possible, and more ice the better. So can you grab me that cooler in the back of the car?
Yeah.
Thanks.
All right, buddy.
Just thinking out loud, we got Ashley in the back here giving us a hand. We brought a cooler here so we can keep this even colder once we make the.
Yeah, once we make the hash, this is basically this process is pretty darn simple. You break your bud down, not too much. If you break your bud down, let me go back a little bit. This process is counterintuitive. Even every person here is going to watch it. They'll have a certain understanding of it, but immediately they'll start thinking of ways they can do it better based on what they think is happening. And I did the same thing, and everyone's done the same thing. And in North America, particularly in America, because Americans are just so gung-ho and like, let's do it big, let's do it large, let's go as strong as we can. And so I'm showing people how to mix with a stick, and the Americans are getting like outboard motors from their boat and literally like running it in kiddie pools. And unfortunately what that does is it turns the cannabis to mulch, and it doesn't really, I mean, when you see that these are microscopic glands, we don't need a vortex mixer. We don't need like an extremely powerful drill. Today we're going to make this with a stick. I'm just going to mix it with a stick. I've got machines that I sell that you can use, and it's easier even to use a cake mixer. I used to use a cake mixer here in Jamaica all the time, which was great. Just a little handheld tool with the 2 little prongs. It would spin it around quite nice. Your stock also has a use, of course. Cannabis stalks can make paper. You can make hempcrete from this stuff. Basically what we're sitting on right here could be made out of hemp grown on the back mountain, no problem. It's actually quite simple. I think it's just lye.
It's lye.
Yeah, you mix lye, you mix water, you mix hemp fibers. I think they take the stalks and they chop them up to do that.
Yes, they do.
Right. So it's a whole process. You can look into it if you don't know about it. It's definitely cool. Of course, cannabis stalk is just biomass. So, of course, you can make concrete out of it. All right. Let's do this up, Johnny. I love to get that ganja on my fingers.
So this is how I get the extra medicated, because of course it goes through your skin because of oils and stuff like that.
Absolutely. You know, rub a little coconut oil on your hands while you're doing this, or do it after you've got gum on your hands and rub coconut oil on. Well, that's a transdermal effect. That will actually bring those cannabinoids into your skin. And of course, your skin is an organ. It's the largest organ in your body. It's called the epidermis. And the epidermis, of course, is where we find quite a few Cb2 receptors. So a quick little science breakdown, so you don't, not to confuse anyone, but we discovered in the 80s and the 90s Cb1 receptors. I'm sure you guys heard about this. This is when they said they found receptors for THC in the brain. That we had receptors that bond, that the cannabis would bond to these receptors. So these were called Cb1 receptors, and they were found in a high concentration in the brain. Then about 8 years later, I think it was 92 or something.
91, 92, CB2.
And was it the Spanish woman who discovered this?
I think it was.
Christina?
Christina.
Okay, so Christina basically came up with Cb2 receptors, and these Cb2 receptors are located throughout the rest of the body, in organs, in your lymphatic system, and so there's also receptors for cannabinoids in those organs. So what that really means is that this system called the endocannabinoid system that regulates all of our biological function, well, not all, but I'd say 90% of it, an extremely high amount, eating and sleeping and remembering and forgetting. All these things are based on your endocannabinoid system. For instance, PTSD, postpartum stress disorder. People go to war. They do things they don't want to do. They come back all messed up. They have messed up their endocannabinoid system. They can't forget. They can't forget what they did. Maybe they shouldn't forget what they did. Either way, cannabis is very helpful for them to release that energy, release that tortured energy that they basically, some of them did it on their own, but a lot of those guys aren't bad people. They just got thrown into the army, and the next thing you know, they're in another country doing crazy things. So we know cannabis is extremely well for that, and that can be worked either through smoking, vaporizing, transdermal patches, decarboxylation of the cannabis, and then eating it. And we can discuss all these things a little later on. You want to tell them a little bit about decarboxylating, John?
Decarboxylating, so it's basically activating the THC molecules in the cannabinoids so they bind to receptors in your brain. So while smoking
because they will not bind.
They will not bind if you just eat bud. You
That's
have to
right.
heat it
so
you get that euphoric effect.
And if we eat bud, we're getting THCA. We're getting CBDA. We're getting all these cannabinoids and THCs in the A's, the acids. So when we decarboxylate, all it is simply is we heat to a certain temperature, 220, 200. What's your temp?
162.
What's your temp?
What's my temperature? I go 324 degrees Fahrenheit or 162 degrees Fahrenheit.
So just under 200 Celsius. What you're going to do is, scientifically, you're going to lose a carboxylic acid ring on those molecules, and what that does is they turn all those THCAs and CBDAs into THC and CBD. And now when you consume those products, they're going...
Drying even your bud will actually activate cannabinoids because, of course, there's heat generated when drying and stuff.
Let's make sure, look at this. See this stuff? We've got to make sure that we're not... I mean, it is only the 160 bag, but let's just do this so I can...
We're a little bit messy.
It's okay, we're loose,
Got lots of good resin.
This will just alleviate that problem of us losing any... And that's one more reason why you have those extra bags in there. I mean, the thought of plant matter going into my 90 micron hash...
No, not good.
No, I don't like it, John.
So actually, going back to when they discovered the ECS, the Endocannabinoid System, for those of you who don't know, it was discovered in 1977. They found receptors in pigs, and that's where the research started. We're like, well, it's in pigs. What the hell is this shit going on? Actually, after working just under 11 years, then they found it in the human brain. So it's interesting that they knew it was there, but then they made it so illegal, knowing that we actually need it. Well, things are changing, right?
And this is an interesting thing because the endocannabinoid system, in my opinion, is just, it's something straight people have never known about. And I'll tell you, Dr. David Allen had a really good point. He said that people with massive endocannabinoid deficiencies that are like beyond and above a normal endocannabinoid deficiency, these people basically get a type of brain damage against cannabis. These are the cannabis prohibitionists that will throw you away in jail. They'll ruin your life. They'll shoot your dog. They'll take all your things. They don't care if your kids are crying. They don't care about any of that because they're completely not tuned in to their own system. And so I really liked when David Allen said that. It makes so much sense. Why are prohibitionists? Why are the people that don't use cannabis, why do they care if we use it? Seems to be a little bit silly. All right, so what do you think we got in here right now, Johnny? Because I don't want to run a whole pound. But I'd say about 100 grams.
I'd say we got.
Pounds in Jamaica are generally under a pound, but because you get stock and stuff.
Yeah, I'm kind of breaking this up.
So these 5-gallon bags generally will fit 200 grams of dried bud. If you stuff too much bud into the bucket, the resin won't be able to filter down. It'll get caught in the plant matter. And so it's key that we do the right amounts. I often weigh, but we also don't dry our bud anymore. We run it fresh frozen.
So if you got fresh bud, you got a freezer right beside you, throw it into it.
Well,
Definitely get better results.
the next bubble we make will be in a ganja field, and we'll be cutting those plants down fresh and going right into the bucket. That's definitely the way. I remember hiking for 40 minutes into the hills here in Jamaica back in 2002 when I came out with International Cannographic and Gypsy Nirvana, who's now in Milano prison awaiting extradition from the Philippines to the U.S. Let's hope they don't get him, guys. They already got Mark Emery. We shouldn't give him Gypsy Nirvana.
This is definitely cold. When I put my hands in there,
I got the shiver up my spine, and I can taste it.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's the goods.
and once we get the herb into the ice, it's breaking them out a lot better too.
Yeah, well, it's nice to break the herb down. You don't, like I said, you don't want to
Mush.
break it into powder, but you definitely want to get it, broken down so that it's going to release those trichomes.
And one thing I did see when I looked at this bud with the loop, you see definitely how the trichomes were deep in there, because with the sativas, they're not as tight as the indica buds that I'm used to, which are rock hard, which you always see on my videos, which I talk about, is how dense and how rock hard those indicas are. This is not that type of bud. It's
Yeah, this is the kind of bud I love.
This is his favorite.
It is. I say it all the time.
Yeah, exactly.
And I defend. I'm constantly defending the herb in Jamaica, because you get like touristy people come here, and it's like, listen, man, like just because you came here and didn't find anything worth finding, that certainly isn't to say that something worth. People constantly say when they can't find something that it doesn't exist. Oh, there's no good weed in Jamaica. That is like the most insane statement that you could ever possibly make, and really it's ignorant to say it, because it shows that you must have stayed at Sandals, never visited any real people on the island, and literally just like bought, I don't know, like swaggy, moldy brown weed from the local hotel guy. Don't stay in hotels when you come to Jamaica if you can help it. Get out of those all-inclusives. Those hotels don't leave any money on this island. They take it all off, and they don't pay employees properly. It's all a pretty bad scene in general. So I've always prided myself. The first time I came to Jamaica, I stayed in a tent, and everyone was like, "You can't stay in a tent." I was like, "Why not? I'm bringing it. Who's going to stop me?" Well, the army did actually at one point in time try to stop me, but I found when I bribed those guys with a big buck knife that I had, they just buggered right off. It was awesome. It was amazing, actually. In the middle of the bush,
We're
these
going
guys...
back into like the early 90s, so
Yes.
we're talking a long time ago. I guarantee things have changed here, so.
Yeah, absolutely. This is the 90s that I'm talking about, so... Although, who knows? I sure look forward to the decriminalization here in Jamaica happening.
Beautiful.
Pretty big steps for Jamaica to take to decriminalize 2 ounces for personal. I think even more importantly than the decriminalization of 2 ounces is to let everyone that's in jail out if they're in for cannabis crimes, potentially repatriations, and
Well, they did that in the US.
felony, clean the charges. You can't. Those people can't be charged for something that was simply, an unreasonable government-towed line from the 1937 Drug and Peace and Narcotics Treaty that the United States, of course, go figure, put into, got all the other countries to sign up, and that's basically what's been holding everything up, why for so long nobody's been able to grow cannabis legally and actually experiment and do good work with it.
We should show what's going on in here. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, we
Maybe these guys should see.
we could show it up, yeah. I mean, it's just a little bucket of ice, a little bucket of bud in here if you guys want to check it out. We're going to get more, we're going to put more ice in, we're going to put more...
About this resin.
Put more ice and water over top of it. I mean, really, it's just wet
I'm going to give you guys a close-up.
It just looks
this.
wrong.
Check this out.
You know?
Coming in here. There you go.
Nice
As Mark's
spear,
showing
John.
there, I'm going to come in here with this nice, beautiful spear, and you can take a better look at that. There you go. So that's what we're washing right now. Sativa.
All right, well, we're getting close, John.
I think we're getting close. Yeah, I was gonna say, what are we getting?
Well, I'm going to put a bunch more just see what kind of level I have for water.
That's what I was curious about.
I'm down about here.
Okay.
So I'm pretty good.
I'm gonna grab some ice over here.
Yeah, I want that whole bag. Well, maybe not actually. There's a pretty.
You got that one?
Let's see. You can never use enough ice in this process. Don't ever think you're using too much.
I think in every video we say keep it cold.
Keep it cold.
Keep it cold, keep it cold, keep it cold.
And at this point in time, you guys have seen me and John make hash out on the Pacific Ocean on a boat. I made it with DJ Short once, and Mark Emery actually, on a school bus driving around Vancouver. That was trippy. There were no school kids on it though. We had just rented it for our own sort of Toker's Bowl party that we were having. Yeah, made it in Jamaica a bunch, made it all over the world. Switzerland, Germany, Italy, France, London.
I'm getting to work here.
India, Thailand, Korea. I've made hash all over the world, so I'm happy to be here doing it. John's gonna start mixing up the medicine.
Always get a rhythm going. You find with that rhythm, you can do really well with it. And we saw this on some of our videos that we did with Whistler. I think I'm really fun with it.
Yeah, but the chicken mist, that's okay, it'll pour out on the sides.
There you go.
If you're getting water pouring out on the sides, don't be worried, because the resin is trapped inside the screens. So.
I think we should get some people in the audience. I don't know if you guys, anybody there is willing to
get a little mix on.
get in here and get in on this. We do have a camera running, but shows you what we're doing.
That right there is a good mix. If we can get that for 5 to 10 minutes, we're going to assure glandular trichome isolation and decontamination.
I can definitely feel how sticky my hands are. Good resin, guys. That's awesome. Got this great drink here, real Jamaican sorrel.
Sorrel juice, yeah,
Sorrel
that's
juice.
quite nice. I had a little cup there. Oh, yeah. So back at home, I have washing machines. They're very small washing machines. I get them out of China. They're about this big. I have bigger ones as well, but these are an incredible product. They're fairly inexpensive. They'll actually wash your clothes, but they'll also wash the resin off of your plant. So this is one of the variables that a lot of people can make mistakes in. Like I said earlier, the majority of the time people try to overmix. They try to put too much mix into the material. With dry material, what can happen is you can break it up more than you want to and create contamination. And basically it's a fine line of mixing, and that's why I started selling the machine. Not because I thought people needed another machine when you can totally do this with a stick, but it took out the variables of people worrying about ruining their product. I mean, it's for John and I, it's nothing to throw kilos and kilos and kilos into water and ice and just mix it up. I've personally run hundreds of pounds of bud into hash, 8 to 10 pounds of hash at a time with this process every 3 to 4 days. This is something that I've done in the past. Now I'm doing a lot less these days. I'm not really isolating on those levels anymore. I mostly isolate for myself and for John for our own personal medicinal reasons.
Well, we want to teach you how to make your own resin at home.
Well, that's it. You know, you can give a man a fish and he'll be happy, but you teach a man to fish, and that is a whole different ball game. And that's what we're doing right here. We're not coming in and saying, we have all the secret proprietary knowledge and we know how to do a bunch of stuff that you don't know how to do. Our whole trip is showing people how to do this. I won't be leaving Jamaica with these bags. I'll be leaving them here with the person that got the most excited about learning and the person that's the most gung-ho on getting this started and turned into not a business, but a journey. It's a journey to the unadulterated cannabinoid high. And when you experience that pure essence of jah through just the resin without that contamination, it is either, whether you want to call it a religious, I personally call it a spiritual experience. And I am lucky enough to have it every day. Some people call it habitual, but every day for me and John, it's a ritual. that froth.
I can't get that. I can't do that.
That's okay.
That's why you need a friend helping you.
That's it. I've made a lot of John's water hash with and for him over the course of the last year. Happily. John's done a lot for me. John helps a lot of people selflessly on a regular basis. So if you want to know how to find happiness in your life, it's not going to be by collecting baubles and gold chains for yourself. It's actually going to be going out and doing something for someone, not necessarily that has less, but maybe just a person that needs a little bit of help or a smile or a nice word or two. And you're good like that.
I like that too.
That's a big one. We can't let
I
that.
was trying to catch it. Definitely.
So on the machine, when I'm mixing like this, I'll generally mix for 6 minutes with my machine. Because I'm hand mixing and the mixing is going to be a little less
15.
standard. Yeah, I'd say about 15 minutes.
About 15. That's what we did when we did my Twitter, and by far it was one of the better yields that I've seen. That was from a sativa that I had, My Little Pony.
Ah, yes, the My Little Pony. Gonna crack me one of those Sorels? Working it here, John.
So Mark's been talking about Sorrel to me for months, and I had my first one. If you didn't see the expression on my face while I was drinking it, and he was talking, fucking amazing.
Pretty nice, eh?
It's great, and apparently they're available in Canada. So, hey, I'm buying
check 'em
cases
out.
of these.
I need to have a little chug of luggy. Thank you, my friend. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. When I'm making bubble hash in Jamaica,
Make sure you
I
have...
drink sorrel juice. No, I'm just joking. One of the things about John and I you'll notice is we don't promote anything that we don't love. We actually have this thing called integrity, which lowers profits immensely, but it creates better vibes. So when you see us on our show, when we're promoting a certain type of product or tool or whatever, it's not because a company has approached us and said, hey, listen, if you just tell everyone my product is the best, I'll pay you so-and-so money. We don't do any of that. We don't take money from companies. We just promote the products with a high integrity that we believe in, that you should, in the least, check out if you're, along the same path.
Well, I think you make it very clear. We're going to buy it, and if we like it, we'll use it.
Well, that's it, and that's why with the LED light, people are asking me already, do you like the LED? Do you like the Lush? Well, I'm only starting to grow my first crop with it. So I can't really tell you if I like it yet, and I can't really promote it in a way that says, yeah, you should go buy one, because I haven't actually grown any resin with it. Once I've grown my cannabis, and I've extracted the resin, and I've actually smoked the resin with John, then we'll have an idea. Right? You gonna set us up with the pressing screens?
I'm getting pressing screens, and
They're
I'm
there.
going to get the cardboard.
They're right in there.
Oh, no. What is the cardboard?
So this is the final part. Once you've done your mixing, and I'm not done yet. I'm going to mix for about 5 more minutes. Once you've done your mixing, we settle for about 5 minutes. Right now, as I talk, little trichomes have been broken off this cannabis, and they're actually sinking in this bucket. For me as a cannabis aficionado and lover, I always get so excited about sharing this information with people that I know love cannabis, but they don't know about this. I mean, imagine all your life, all you ever had was grape juice, and then one day someone just came over to you and said, have you ever seen these? And they showed you grapes. That's the equivalent to what we're doing here. When we lift these bags and you just see this sandy kind of product, you'll get the idea. And of course I'm talking to my Jamaican friends here, not so much the people back at home, because I know you guys have been watching these videos for a long time, and I know you guys pretty much know this process inside and out. If you guys have any questions at all, feel free to shout them out. Don't worry about it. You're not interrupting. I'll edit this video, and I can pause and cut things out and make... I don't want you to be lost at any point in this process. If there's ever a point where you're like, why did you do that? What is it you're doing right now? Just interrupt and ask me. So these bags, here's a funny little story, are made in Nepal. Nepal, Kathmandu. Huge Shivite Baba group in Nepal. Shiva Ratri, of course, which is Shiva's birthday. Shiva, in my opinion, is the most Rasta-like of the Hindu gods. You know, Shiva is pretty damn cool. Shiva puffs tough, Shiva drinks bang, Shiva's got long ass hair and a huge ass beard, and every celebration I've ever been involved in, and every sadhu, because there's many types of holy men in India, many types of sadhu, and they're not all Shivites. There's Brahmins, and there's Krishnas, and there's Shivites, so you have a bunch of different schools. It doesn't take long to figure out when you go to India that the Shivites are the puffers. So of course, the whole time I was there, I was hanging out with Shivite bubbas. And here's an interesting fact that the Jamaicans will love. These guys are revered in India. They're dreads, they're bearded, they're holy men. They walk around in bare feet, they don't own things, but they're revered by the people because they live a harder life. And the belief system in India with karma and how karma works is that the sadhus are living this life to work through the karma of the people, not just for themselves. A lot of the North American mentality when it comes to karma is a selfish, oh, as long as I'm nice, I'll have good karma. Well, that's not really how it works. Bad karma can be trapped by good people, and good karma can be trapped by bad people. We're all one people on this earth, and our karmas are all interconnected. They're not separated. A couple more minutes, Johnny.
Okay. So what I'm doing here, guys, I'm getting the cardboard like this.
Got a little herb water in the eye there.
So I got 2 pieces of cardboard here. When I was just explaining, the cardboard to the guys behind us is going to soak the moisture that we leave and that is in the hash. It'll pull the moisture out of the hash.
Very important for here in Jamaica, a desiccant. A desiccant is something that will absorb moisture with the help of gravity. So cardboard is a desiccant. It's any paper. You can see if I put paper down right here, right now, obviously it would absorb the water off of the concrete. So cardboard is the same idea. We like to get a triple plied cardboard. We use pizza boxes because we can close them, wrap them in parchment paper, and when we grate our bubble over top of it, it's going to be safe from any contaminant like hair or debris or dust. What I mean by grating it or sieving it or microplaning it, once we've pulled this resin out of here, it's going to be wet. And it's very important that we, probably the most important thing that we'll do in this whole process is that we'll break that bubble hash up so it's powder. And the greater the surface area of powder that we can spread, the more efficient the cardboard will be with its desiccant action. I mean, if you put a little patty, one little patty on a big piece of cardboard, yeah, that cardboard's going to pull right under that patty. It'll never dry properly. Now, what if I broke that patty into powder and spread it all over the cardboard? Well, in a place like Jamaica, it doesn't take very long before that moisture is absorbed and then the resin is able to cure. So a small explanation of that is that the wax membrane cuticle that holds in the cannabinoid profile in the glandular trichome becomes brittle, and we break it off and we separate the hash. However, if it's fresher herb, it's going to maintain hydration inside that wax membrane. There's moisture in it, okay? So when you add more water to an already moist membrane, you saturate it and it becomes harder to dry. So in Jamaica, in a place like this, using dry herb can be beneficial. However, I still love to do fresh frozen.
My favorite.
Fresh frozen. I can't wait till we do fresh frozen field. That's
Fresh frozen field, guys. That's the new one.
Fresh frozen field. What do you say we pull these bags pretty soon here, buddy?
Are we ready to pull the bags?
I think so, pretty soon. So we've got nice water right here, John. It's nice and cold. We'll be able to do our rinses. I think what we'll do, because it's very important, potentially Ashley or someone, what we require is the hose being turned on down there.
Okay.
And then as we pull the bags and I clean the hash out, someone's going to have to take the bags I'm going to clean the hash out. John's going to flip the bag inside out, inside this bucket.
Rinse them with cold water.
Rinse the majority of the resin off of the screen, but because of this heat and this moisture, we need to ensure that the resin is cleaned off the screen properly. So really pay attention with your eyes. Look at the screen. Is there resin all over it? That hose down there is unfortunately very warm water. If you put your thumb over the hose and create a real jet, you should be able to clean the bags. And we're going to give you the bags wrapped inside out over this bucket. So they'll be already stretched, so you won't have to hold a floppy bag. There'll be a nice open screen right here. You can hold the bag underneath, you know, cinched, and just hold this sideways. And John can go down with you the first time.
Yeah, I'll definitely show you.
All right, so.
So we let things screen it off.
You think we did 15, John?
I think we're good. And then always keep the water cold that we're rinsing the screens out in,
Yes.
because that will definitely knock the
And
resin off.
clean if you can. That wasn't there a second ago. Gotta keep it clean.
But then we'll definitely be rinsing it off too.
Oh yeah. And you know what? Little bud particles aren't really what we're worried about.
It's the resin.
It's the resin, exactly. So, just think. I think we're gonna have to dump this into some lovely plants. There's a nice cactus growing right over the concrete there.
Yeah, pretty cool. The first one we're gonna probably leave the plant matter and the ice and put it back into.
Yeah, well, we'll see what happens.
Okay. And here we go, guys. Pulling bags.
Pulling bags. Pulling our first bags in Jamaica. So we did, you know, make a little bit of a mess on our first. We got a little
why the
overzealous.
190 bag is very good to have.
It is, even though still I'm going to clean it as much as I can, rather than let this get into the final product. A great thing about water hash as well is that, you know, often when people see it for the first time, they're surprised that that you took all this herb and only got this small amount of resin. Well, that's the fact with cannabis. There's a small amount of resin, and all these people, you know, when I got caught with my cannabis, I have a cannabis felony. I got caught with 16.5 pounds at a roadblock, and the police just thought it was the greatest thing ever. And luckily they didn't catch me earlier that day when I had 100 pounds. That's a whole other story. But the 16.5 pounds got taken. My cash got taken. It was actually being held for the BC Compassion Club. It was herb for terminally sick people. It wasn't going to high school students, and it wasn't even a recreational thing. So the judge in Canada was really cool about it. He judged in a way that gave me no fine, no time, no probation, and he ordered the prosecutor to give me my money back. And while I was being charged, the prosecutor asked my lawyer if I could get their friend who was dying of cancer in the hospital a bag of weed. Did you get that? The prosecutor, who was prosecuting me for trafficking cannabis, asked my lawyer to get his friend a bag of weed who was dying in the hospital of cancer. Of course I did it. You know? Of course I'm going to show the guy that just because you're unreasonable and you have such a shitty job, you have to prosecute people for, you know, cannabis. In fact, the most righteous level of cannabis distribution, you're distributing to terminally ill people. You know, these people were really sick back then. Now, luckily, today in Canada, there's a variety of us. John and I are clearly not terminally ill, but we're still allowed to use cannabis as a medicine, which is fairly important to the two of us.
So the best part about pulling this bag is how much ice is in there, what you're seeing here right now.
Oh, it's really good.
Yeah, nice and cold.
How about that color, John?
That's beautiful. It's creamy.
It's like
Creamy.
creamy yellow.
And when we see it creamy, we're happy.
Yeah, we're happy when we see it creamy.
We're very happy when we see this colored water, guys.
I'm almost happy of all the colors aside from clear. Clear states that, you know, this looks like sour sap juice. It really does. This is what this looks like in here, sour sap juice. So you know we did something. And we didn't only do a mechanical separation, which is the process, but we've also leached water-soluble terpenes into this water, and that's why we've got this color. Definitely keeping this ice.
Yeah. You definitely need
All right, so
I'm gonna grab a
where this guy. Yeah, let's just put it right down on this bag. It's perfect. Quick thinking, Johnny. Johnny Quick Thinker.
Ah, you know I've done this before.
You have 8,000 nicknames.
I know.
It's great.
Pull it.
All right. Okay then.
I'm like, we're not talking about those nicknames.
We're not talking about his nicknames. So, I'm just grabbing little bits and pieces just because the quality of this, you never know. It could be good. Why would I want to contaminate it with little bits and pieces? Get it up. Get it. Oh, there we go. I mean, there's quite a bit floating around in here. We did a little bit of a
Okay, we got a running water tap. I got this all nicely iced. He's pulling this bag. We have our desiccant here. We're gonna put our hash in.
All right, I'm gonna go around. I'm gonna show the boys this real quick.
Perfect.
So this is our contaminant bag. We got a little bit of ice cubes because John and I got a little overzealous on our mixing. It's a lot of contaminant, but you can tell that we filtered something out, right? This isn't what we want. It's what we don't want. And people often ask, why do we want to use that bag? Because we need to get this out of our smoke. This isn't something that we're going to be wanting to inhale. Now, there are medicinal properties in this. You could cook it into a banana bread. You could literally collect this stuff by the kilo and give it to someone who makes medibles, and those medibles would be unbelievable. And of course, John, we know that because when we eat THC, what does it do in our body?
We feed our endocannabinoid system.
And it metabolizes in our liver. So when you eat cannabis, it's different from smoking it. It actually will go through your liver and it metabolizes. And what it does is it turns tetrahydrocannabinol, which is THC, into 11-hydroxy metabolite. And anyone that's ever eaten cannabis, that stuff will lick you good. Like, it will put you down. It is very different from smoking cannabis. And sure, you can get people who smoke a bunch and have a minor anxiety attack and are very intense. It's nothing compared to the power of eating or overeating cannabis.
I eat a lot of cannabis, and I have for the last 24 hours, actually 3 days, so of course I'm eating this cannabis.
Yeah, well, you eat a lot of cannabis. It's not you I'm talking about, that's for sure.
I know.
So, this is our 190. You can just pull that ice cube out if you get a chance there. Alright, so.
So 190. So once again, you can see all the resin on there.
You want to do an inside outer?
We'll do an inside outer here.
Just go right over it. Right over it. There you go. Stretch that right over the top. Cinch it on the bottom, and then we'll just stick it in the water and get that screen as clean as we can. We might be able to get them clean enough here if you use your hand. This is an extremely important...
Oh, that's perfect. I'm done.
Excellent.
I already know.
This is a very important part. Use your eyes. Use a microscope if you have to. There's stuff on the screen, and if you leave it there, each time it's going to dry and it's going to fill the holes. And once you've eventually filled the holes on the screen, you're going to be throwing pounds of weed in and getting very, very, very small returns because it's not making it through the screens. You can fix this by taking some, overproof alcohol, clear alcohol, and rubbing gently. I use a toothbrush. I flip the bag over a screen and make it tight, and then I just use a toothbrush with the smallest amount of solvents. As you guys know, I am not a solvent fan. I say it all the time, water sustains life, and solvents end life. It's as simple as that. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Water sustains life on Earth, and solvents end life on Earth. So, next bag. 160?
160.
Oh, now we got a pile, Johnny.
Really?
And right away, it's this orangey, reddy, awesome, beautiful hash. That's nice 160.
I'm trying to get my eyes there, but you can go some of them. That's nice 160. Wow, look at that.
You can see it moving around a little bit. This is a little process that I use, almost panning. I'm going to bounce it around, and I'm going to pick itself up off the screen and get these little shaking processes and pick that hash up.
So we're definitely seeing some really nice resin coming out of this, as we already anticipated, because we were scoping it, taking a look at it. I actually put this
is just
little branch
the
off
last
to the side.
process.
We'll show some micrograph
This is
photos
not
of
the
that.
best. This is the 160, so by no means is this what we want. But I'll tell you, to get that quality is a good sign. It only means that our 120 bag that I'm about to go pull right now is only going to be better. This is basically nicer than any gum you could find on the entire island because I washed it. It's not an ego thing. It's just that they're smashing resins with knives and I washed the resin. Do we have the microscope? Because we could really show these guys what's going on. Right beside you. Oh yeah, I'm seeing, if you go over on this side, you'll see contaminant. You'll see cystolith hairs, stigmas, capitate stalks. Not so much actual plant matter, but trichome contamination.
Oh, you definitely can see some trichomes.
Here, why don't we get it off into the pressure
Yeah, let's
screen
get
real
on
quick.
the top screen.
I'm going to use a little bit of this water just to kind of rehydrate that resin that I allowed to. In this heat,
It's drying really
this
quickly.
resin will dry. Open her up, bud.
So you can always rehydrate it by adding more water onto the screen to get it off. Once again, when we use the ice cold water underneath. Now after this bag, we wash the other bags back into the other bags. We want to keep collecting that resin.
After this bag. This bag is not a good enough resin for us yet. I looked at it under the microscope. It's probably only 40% gland heads, 60
eating.
to 70% contaminant. Great for eating.
Great for
You're
eating.
100% right.
That is great
But
for
it's
eating.
not something we're going to put in our
I
pipe.
don't want to smoke it.
And we're not being snobs or purists. It's just like you'd say the same thing with a good piece of fruit as opposed to a bad piece of fruit. You know, a great,
That's right.
a perfectly ripe banana is something that's wonderful to eat in the morning, but one that's like overly ripe and almost rotten, I prefer that to give that to my wife, and she makes banana bread out of it. You know, there's different levels of qualities, and the fruit that we're looking for is the highest quality. Getting that slow drip on the 120 is never a bad sign.
That's what we want to see.
And now, I need to show you guys each time because you're going to see the different quality, and you're going to see that the resin, it moves around different, and it cleans different. And as it gets better, I'll be able to basically roll this around and pick up the resin off of itself. This is a bit of a tricky sort of thing that I've learned over the years, but I need a spray bottle. If I had a little spray bottle, I could spray it all into the center and make it easier to collect. You know? Alright, so
as you were off screen, I'll give the 2 thumbs up because that's a nice ball of resin.
yeah?
Because I know you're excited.
Yeah, oh, well, we're not even at the 90.
I know.
And you know, a ball of resin like this could easily be 2 to 3 grams. It looks very small, but resin is extremely dense.
No, to me that looks awesome.
Yeah, it's nice.
I'm
right?
excited with the yield of this stuff.
I have a feeling. This is what I did with my little
What would you like?
microscope.
Oh, it's right here.
Excellent. I want to see our quality that we're dealing with. Black lighted?
Yep.
Purple lighted? Whatever they call it.
So of course we're now looking at it, which you guys have all seen,
And now it's heads.
and now it's all the fresh headies. Hence his company.
Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah, that's nice.
That's a good start. I came here in 2002, and my friend from Seaford Town, he's a German descent, a white Jamaican guy, born and bred, his whole
See that on
family.
the screen?
Yeah.
You can see that.
Yeah. And he had a pound of herb that he was selling to an expat in Negril, who was the coin man. He used to cut coins and make it look like it, someone was smoking a joint inside the coin. And Chris would sell him a pound of herb for $50. He'd bring it down from the hills. Well, the day that I came to Jamaica and met Chris, the coin man told him that the herb was no good and that he wouldn't pay him the $50. But Chris had already invested his own money to get the herb, and he had bought it for maybe $30 or something. But $30 was a lot of money to Chris, and it was gonna mess him up for about a week and a half if he didn't get it taken care of. He was really bummed out, and the herb wasn't very nice, but I took the herb and I turned it into 11 grams of hash, and he sold it to the coin man for $220 US. The same pound of herb the coin man wouldn't buy for $50 US. So we took it, we made hash out of it. It took us 30 minutes, and Chris went from losing $30 to making $190. Let me tell you, Chris was pretty happy. And so was the coin man, until he found out. And he
So
wasn't.
I'm rehydrating because.
And he wasn't super happy. Good job. That's the Jamaican spritzer.
Is it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Shit, I'm learning something I don't even know.
Learning something, you just created something. This is how it happens. Get your hands dirty. Make hash with your friends. I swear to God, you'll learn
This
things.
is something I haven't done before, actually. Normally, I just.
That's a great idea. It worked perfect.
It worked.
It worked great.
See, we learn something new every day.
I might have to just borrow that.
Okay, you can have it.
Thanks, buddy.
You don't have to borrow it. It's all yours.
Thanks, buddy.
So now at this point, we're gonna wash this bag into this resin.
Exactly.
We want to harvest this.
This is a big change now. We're not putting resin that was 90% heads and that looks like something we all want to smoke into this bucket, which is clearly going to be washed into the garden. We're going to wash it right back in to the 90 micron bag. And what that's going to do for us is it's going to trap those resin heads that were on this screen in our next screen.
And we want to keep those resin heads because they're actually very nice, which you saw.
All right, so this is my favorite bag, the 90 micron black bag. This bag is always just great. Oh, there's very little in this one, though. Let's see what we got there. Oh, no, there it is. It's hiding in the foam.
Hiding in the foam.
So this is something that'll happen sometimes with bubble hash. You'll get foam,
Another thing, guys.
and you kind of can't tell what you have. Gotta give it a little blow, and then it'll
So just a little extra.
mix it up.
Make sure we get the resin off.
I got a nice little pile of 90. This will probably be some of the strongest. So a small amount of 90 means we're going to get a big pull on the 73. I was expecting at least twice this much of 90. I think it all went into the 73, John. I'll say this as well. If we were dealing with sativas here, if there were sativas in the bunch, we're going to find a large amount of heads in this white bag, the 45 micron bag.
45 is gonna rock.
And that's due to the fact that the tropical sun beats such powerful UVB rays down on this resin that it produces almost a smaller trichome rather than the large bulbous ones that John and I are used to pulling off of indoor grown cannabis. The sativas, particularly the outdoor ones, will tend to pull much smaller. Oh, don't do that, please. Yeah. That'll be like, we should leave it just like that. Just because it'll self-press. It'll self-press. Normally when I'm doing this as well, these right here would be in a cold environment. Like if this was full of ice, we would have it open and we would have this down inside of the ice mixture, and it would just keep a sort of thermocline from, I mean, it's got to be 27, 26 degrees out here right now, so it's definitely nice and warm. Something that the resin doesn't always appreciate.
So I got these cold packs. I put them on ice. They're like freezing perfectly. So I'm gonna put these in here and do exactly what we were talking about.
Excellent. I think that's a great idea.
So I actually brought this
Perfect. Yeah.
with me.
Excellent. Throw that down right there. Ba-ba-doo. Perfect.
Keep it cold.
All right, here you go. You want to clean this bag out? Yes. Getting down.
This is a little trick we learned in Spain.
Yeah, we were doing that in Spain. I mean, I have to admit, I have done that before Spain, but he just had the perfect size bucket that I loved. And Phil, actually, even before we went to Spain, we made hash with the bucket on the side of the river, the Chicamis River up in Whistler, British Columbia, raging glacier-fed river behind me and John. And what do? Well, we bring a bunch of his fresh frozen buds and some bubble bags and ice, and we make hash down by the river. It was quite nice.
It's quite fun.
Oh yeah, look at this. The water came right out of the 90 micron bag. Why is the water not falling through this screen right now? What possible reasons could it be?
Full of resin.
It's full of resin. So, you could stand here like an idiot for 20 minutes and let it drain, or you could simply go...
See the difference? Pull and jerk.
I'm jerking the resin with a quick jerk up off of the screen, and the water is rushing down through the screen. I literally had customers who, with this bag, one guy in particular, he said it took him 32 hours to drain the bag, and I was just like,
Oh.
what did you do for 30? He's like, well, I hung it on the bathroom doorknob with the bucket underneath it. And then when I showed him that I could drain any bag in 10 seconds, he absolutely did not believe me. And when I finally showed him how to do it, well, the guy just felt so stupid. And you shouldn't feel stupid. I mean, man, in my opinion, the only way you can learn is to put yourself out there, look like an idiot, make mistakes, and learn from them. I mean, holy shit, how do we learn? We make mistakes. That's how I learn anyway.
Hence, don't fall 28 feet.
Holy fuck. How about that? That's all I'm gonna say. That is the biggest yield I've seen out of anything I've done.
That's a really nice
That is the
73
biggest
pull
yield
right
I've seen
there.
out of anything I have done.
This is
Hats
this
off,
is
guys. We
this
love
is
Jamaica.
what I was talking about.
That is what we're talking about
for
right
the
there.
pure,
I just got goosebumps.
Pure, the cleanliness. When I show you guys this under the
When you
microscope,
get
I promise
goosebumps, you
guys
guys,
will
look at that. Goosebumps from that resin. See the hair
Everything
standing up?
around that looks like that,
That's amazing.
you can't see a single thing. We're gonna get the microscope out once the camera's off, and we'll all get to look at it. For now, I want to pull it off and.
So that's exciting. See, it's always nice to pull a really nice bag to show. I know, I just got goosebumps. More goosebumps.
It's that Jamaican
My hairs are standing
resin.
up on my arm.
Yeah, this is 10 grams, I would say. This is a 10-gram pull.
And we didn't even use all the bud.
Holy
I need another screen.
Moses.
Because you know that 45
It's gonna be
is
the
gonna
same.
be the same.
Yeah, it's gonna be the same again.
So,
It's so nice to see you just so stoked in our bubble meetings.
oh, I love it. I had to show them the goosebumps and the hair standing up. I was like, that's amazing. That's why we came here, to see and to show you guys exactly what we can do with it.
All right, let's clean that off into the 45. We only have 2 bags left, so we'll be getting down to the fun stuff here pretty soon. A lot of people make mistakes when they do this for the first time. It's so exciting when you see what John and I just saw for the first time especially, that sometimes the bags don't get cleaned fast enough. Sometimes they get put down and everyone's like, oh, look at the hash, look at the hash. It's like, just do me a favor, look at the hash once you've cleaned your bags, okay? Clean your bags and then look at the hash. It's not going anywhere.
On the 7390, when the 45, because it's so small, it's going to get stuck in those screens, and you
Yes.
got to get it clean right away. Most important part, I mean, they're all important, but really pay attention to your 90, your 73, because, of course, those are your favorite bags.
Oh, sorry, bud. We should do it.
I was like, what? Nice.
All right, so this one's going to be heavy. 45 is always holding the water nice.
So, as you can see, once again,
All right, bucket me up when you get a chance. Yeah, this is probably like twice as much as the 73. Unless
Already
it's
knew
just
that was
all
good.
water, but it's definitely the same size once this water drips down.
that's why I had to get another pressing screen. I actually had to change my game right away. I was like, okay, I need another screen.
Hey, we're adaptable, John. That's the...
We know what we're doing.
Holy Moses.
So as he started doing that, I was about ready to do the same thing. You can actually blow the foam off to the side.
One at a time, though. No.
Yeah,
big
no,
blow.
I just stopped.
All right, so nice little 45 pull. This one's going to dry even faster. So this is the one. These are the 2 bags. I'm not going to walk around and show you all, but you guys are all going to be able to see it on the pressing screen once we've got it collected. So this is a nice pile. It's actually not quite as much as the 73, but it's pretty chunky. Clean too. This is what the water offers us. The water offers us the ability to clean the resin in a way that we've never been able to before. And I'll tell you, Jamaica was one of the first countries I came to show this process to. And I went to a lot of countries.
Isn't that like 99, 2000?
I came in 2000, 2001, 2002, 3, 4, and 5.
I think some of those first bags were posted on your Facebook page by someone from here.
Yes, yeah, I got good friends in Orange Hill, Ziggy. I got good friends in Grange Hill that we've made bubble hash with over the years. Yeah, some really good people, some really good growers. You know, these guys aren't. There's lots of different kind of growers in Jamaica, just like there's lots of different kind of growers everywhere in the world. But to find the real rootsy growers, to find the real, you know, the guys that are really focused on the effects of the plant, not on how much they're going to get from a tourist market. Which there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, if I lived in Jamaica, I'd be selling the shit out of hash to tourists. Wouldn't even be funny.
Yeah, so when I tour here, I'm like, someone sell me the shit out of this.
I mean, it would be great. Honestly, when I arrived here, the first thing I had to do was go find ganja and turn it into hash. How happy would I have been if someone met me at the airport and said, "Oh man, we've been making hash with your bags. What are you talking about? Here's a piece. Oh my God, here's a couple $100. Thank you." It's like
really, I mean, the first thing we landed came, we gotta get hash.
you have to keep in mind, John and I have licenses for this. I personally have a license to have 10 pounds of hash at my house. I'm allowed 10 pounds of hash. What are you allowed? 15?
15.5.
15.5 pounds over here, 10 pounds over here. Between the two of us, we rock a 25 pack of hash. How sweet is that?
That's like, we know how big those numbers are.
Oh, Canada.
Soon, the world.
You know, I personally consider myself an earthling. I'm not really a big proponent of borders and division of human culture. I love the fact that we have our own cultures, but they're all of our cultures to share. We're not separated in any way. One more bag, Johnny.
I know.
And then this is the bag everyone hates. When we run the 20 gallons, you'll
I
see.
really want to see what the sativa bag looks like because of the smaller bags of them. That's full.
It's
full.
It's a
And
lot
that
smaller
25
draining.
is still full of trichomes. No matter which way you look at it, this is all useful. Every bit of this resin. I'm not too big on the 190, but you know what? I will eat it.
I want to get us some cups, and we're all going to have a drink of this liquid.
And you're going to love it.
Terpene-rich cannabis liquid. It's not going to get any of you high. It's just going to be like drinking cannabis tea. And I know a few of you are going to be inspired by it, at least.
And as everybody knows, you always see me drinking my tea.
Yeah, it's a nice thing to do. You know, I feed it to my plants personally.
Yeah, take that tea.
I mean, these are flavors and terpenes and whatnot, and it just seems like a good idea to just put them right back into, you know, what you don't drink. Because I mean, obviously, John's not going to drink 5 gallons of bubble hash water because he makes bubble hash almost every day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We talked about bottling it there for a while, and then, well,
We did.
we did. We thought we should bottle this.
All right, so last little tip on this, and you guys have already seen me doing it. These bags are a little harder to finish off. I don't want you squeezing the fruit. I don't want, you know, we don't want to bruise the resin. We don't want to damage it. So what we're going to do is we're going to create, we just open the bag, all right, and we create air in the bag. And then we use the air to force the rest of the water and the foam out of the bag. This is very helpful, and it allows you, here's the thing, when you have your resin soaking in water, let's get it out as soon as possible. We're teaching and educating here today, so we're going real slow. But generally, you'd see me, I'd already have this over here.
Oh,
this
this
would have
would be
already been
done.
in the house and microplaned. Like, we would have already done a lot of this. But we're going slow because well, we're in Jamaica.
And we're teaching
We're
people.
not in a rush.
We're teaching people.
No? All right. Nice little pile of 25. This is our last bag. And
When you get a really good bucket with that, this is how we do it. We just pull it over the bucket and it exposes it right there. Mark's really experienced, so we hold it in his hand and just carves it off with a spoon. But really, in reality, to make life a lot easier for you guys, as you can see what he's doing here right now, is he pulls it over a bucket, and then you have access to that resin. I'm not going to blow on it, almost done.
all right, so we get a real nice, almost artistic resin mixed with the white foam that I created, and because I gave it a little bit of a blow, I created these psychedelic patterns inside the resin. You can see here and here how easy it is to see the contaminant. When you get rid of all the contaminant, even if you have 1%, it sticks out like a sore thumb. And you see another one right there, and another one right here. Boom, I just cleaned this resin, and now everything else is clean. Generally, nothing will get through these bags, but the way John and I didn't fold the bags over themselves right away, and we were stripping the herb, it was falling between the bags. So we had a little bit of a upset there, but nothing major. Nothing major. So we're going to look at all of these under the microscope. I'll actually photograph them all right now with my camera. So, you know, it's a little bit easier than looking through that tiny little eye hole. And we'll be able to fudge. I've been smoking hash for a long time, over 15 years, probably close to 20. I've been smoking it almost exclusively for 13 years, and I'm here to tell you right now that Jamaican sun-grown resin is some of the best quality resin I've ever inhaled in my life. And that's saying something. You guys all know who I am. You know that I'm not smoking anything less than what I would consider the best everywhere I go. But for whatever reason, and John's going to be on this, man, I'm so excited for you to join us here soon in the I Have Smoked Jamaican Bubble.
Yeah, that too. But I mean, I got to smoke Jamaican bud before we actually did this, and like you guys saw me working here hard, going solid, and you know I did tweak my neck a little bit, but otherwise not. You know, definitely amazing medicine.
Yeah, and that's the difference between, you know, when we have, why I love having John here with me is because we're not really just promoting the euphoric values of cannabis, which I am 100% a proponent on. I believe in using cannabis spiritually. In the sense that the same way it is medicinal for your body, it is medicinal for your brain and for your soul, and the synergy of those three things. The Holy Trinity. That's my Holy Trinity. Anyway, I'm gonna, what do you think? Do a little, get that last little bit off?
Last little bit. Now, you can do a second run from that, and I can guarantee we get more from that resin.
It's true. We could literally take this, put it back into the bags, mix it again for 10 or 15 minutes, and we could get more. I would not tell you to throw that away.
Hell no.
However, as you do this, as you start making this, especially here in Jamaica, I could easily see, with the way my mind works, that I would set up a thing where all the firsts is like one team of people, and then this is the second team. It's not run by the first team. You have a team of people who are doing the jobs that John and I did, and then you have specific experts who will deal with this product right here. Because let's be honest.
How many people you will have taking care of that?
Well, okay.
It depends on how many machines.
The big job is breaking up the hash into powder and drying it properly. This is like a foreman job. This is a supervisor. This guy's getting paid more than everyone else. Trust me.
These are the laborers.
The laborers, they're just anyone. Any laborer. I mean, you just saw what we did. It's just really simple labor. You're moving around water and ice. You're mixing with a stick, or you got washing machines. If you've got washing machines, you're using a bag like this that's all screen. The whole bag is screen and it zips closed. I throw the ice and the herb in. You throw it in the washing machine. You turn the button. 10 minutes later, another guy washes that, drains that washing machine into a set of buckets and starts doing what we did. You could have one machine and run 3 20-gallon sets of bags. So 3 machines, 9 20-gallon sets of bags. You might have 4 people constantly making ice, breaking it up, and filling bags in these all-screen bags and then putting them in the freezer. Then you have your second crew coming along, opening the freezer, opening those, putting them into the washing machine, and turning them on. That's all they do. The third crew is pulling bags. This is a crew you want to, they're not just laborers. These are people you've trained, and these are people who know what they're doing. And they're going to get to this, and this part right here, this is where guys like John and I come in to train specific people. You need a hyper-aware individual. You need someone that is aware of their surroundings in a hyper-aware way. Not someone that's kind of like just doing the job and I'll cut it up. It has to be done specifically. So for this particular job, you got to hire someone that's OCD, you know, or like anal. Like they're just like, I want this to be, it has to be perfect, because if you don't have that person, this is going to mold. You're going to leave moisture in your hash, and you're basically going to turn it to garbage. Especially if you start making it on a large scale. Especially if you start producing pounds of it. So we've got this. What I want to do now is we're going to have a little sip of this water. We're going to take this inside, and we're going to, I guess we could break it up over cardboard. And that'll start the drying process. We'll probably leave it on the cardboard for 2 to 3 days. You know, although tonight, in the next 20 to 30 minutes, I will hand press a piece, India style, and I will get as much of the moisture out as we can, and then we're going to plug in the Dnail, and we're going to do Jamaican dabs of full melt bubble.
Full melt bubble Jamaican dabs.
Yeah. All right, let's get some cups and drink some of this water.
Okay, man.
Grab a seat, Johnny B. Oh, and the music just came on. Sorry we didn't film us drinking the juice, guys. It was delicious. Everyone was pretty blown away by the process. Good happy times here in Jamaica. We self-pressed out a little tiny bit, because, I mean, come on, how are we not going to try some? So, you ready for a Jamaican bubble dab, John?
so excited. And this is a 73, and that's what I call my medicine. That's what I say every day. And this 73 is by far the best 73 I ever saw. You saw the goosebumps. I got a little excited. You know. Yeah, I'm always happy.
It's your medicine.
This is exciting, though. There's a little bit difference between always being happy and being excited to try something so amazing. First time, first trip.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys. To me, this is something I'll never forget.
All right, bud. Slow and steady, buddy. There's a little, it's moist, so we gotta get through that little bit of water hit first, and there we go. Now it's starting to. How's that feeling? Burning in the air. And that was like half the hash that I pulled off. You just got.
Yo.
Yeah. That's what we were looking for. That's what we came here. We are resin chasers. It definitely needs to be dry, but you know what? Like we always say, we gotta try it now. And you just nailed that one.
Boom!
Oh, he's not.
We could actually put a little water in the bog, Johnny.
You're next ready. Oh, we dry. We put something in dry. Here's something we do quite a bit.
We get excited, John.
We get excited. We didn't even hit it with water. So you know what? The first water hit.
I won't hit this one right now.
No problem. Anyone that wants to hit it, we can hit it off camera. So, John and I are going to keep at it here. We're going to keep smoking the full melt Jamaican bubble, and this is day one, guys.
There you go.
All right, well, wow, we wrapped it up. We just puffed a bunch of that fresh 73.
It's amazing.
Dabbed it up on the Dnail, super nice. Everyone loved it. We gave them all nice little doses. They fed us this wonderful soup that they actually put breadfruit in from the tree behind us.
I watched him cut it. I mean, what time he cooked it? Came out with dinner.
Excellent.
Amazing.
Very nice, very special. First day in Jamaica has been absolutely top notch. It was just completely off the charts. Having Richie Spice pick us up at the airport, that was cool. And then just coming and hooking up with these other guys. It's been a good day, let's just say, and we're going to see you guys tomorrow on Bubbleman's World, so keep watching.
Yeah. That's the new one. Yeah, man.
Yeah, man. Maybe a bit. Hey, how's it going, guys? Bubbleman
man.
and Johnny B
Yeah, man.
in the hizzy. We're just chilling out now at the Spanish Court Hotel. This is one of the pretty nice hotels in downtown Kingston. I guess it would actually be uptown. Uptown? Well, no, uptown is up this way, and it's sort of where the nicer houses are. You drive up the mountain into the Blue Mountain Range, and you get those golf courses up there, and these other fancy houses and stuff. I'm gonna turn the music down because it's crapping out on me a little bit. You guys will probably hear us a little better if we don't have that going on. So, yeah, Johnny and I came up here to do a little bit of video editing. We puffed a few bowls out of the Hitman, because that's always fun. Do you have the screen, John?
Should be.
Oh, really? Huh. I don't know. He found it. I thought I spilt it, even though I didn't see anything move, but yeah, we have one screen, so we can't really mess around with it in the way that losing it would be fairly detrimental. We do have the Mothership and the Dnail here, which is upstairs in the room. We were hitting that earlier after we made some bubble. Had a nice group of guys that we had never met before. After we got picked up at the airport, we went and met some other guys, and we went and made some nice bubble. We got
Some
about
killer bubble.
Yeah, we got about a pound of herb that we ran through the 5-gallon bucket, and we got an incredible return.
73, baby.
The 73 kicked ass, I'm not gonna lie. I'm
Wow.
wearing the 90 shirt. If it was a contest, I lost the game tonight. 73 won.
There's no contest, but 73 was epic.
The 73 is and was epic. So we're gonna be, I photographed the whole thing. I'll show you guys what it looks like. Man, what a great first night in Kingston.
It's past great.
You know?
It's memorable. It's something that goes down in my history books because shit like this just doesn't happen in Jump or Fellows, bro.
It seems to happen all the time.
You know what?
when
No,
you're around.
it's
Come on.
it's what's going on. It's the people who are looking for the education, really want to know what's going on, and trying to take a better look at medicine for patients.
I'd say that.
And it's really, really, really interesting is that everybody here, the people I'm talking to, they're looking at epilepsy as a big one, and they're really curious because they have friends and family that are sick, and they were talking, they don't know what to do. And the best part about it is, hey, smoke the herb.
Yeah, smoke the herb, feed your endocannabinoid system. John and I are going to be at it. Well, John actually told me today, which I was really stoked on. He was like, we landed at the airport at 1 o'clock. Or 1:30 by the time we cleared the airport, and we actually could say we were in Jamaica and cleared customs, and it was a great experience. So we land, we get picked up. Within how many hours were we smoking hash that we made?
At 6:40, the hash was being run, and we were hitting the Dnail by, I'd say, about 7:30.
So, once again, sure, I don't
5
love to
hours.
promote hitting the super wet bubble, but I'll tell you, when you fly your ass to Kingston, Jamaica, and you link up with some Irie dudes that want to make some kind bud turned into isolated resin glands, and it turns out as well as it turned out for us. I mean, right after finishing, the chef made us breadfruit stew from plants.
I
and
watched
breadfruit.
him go outside with a cut down thing. What's that? He goes, breadfruit. Walked away. He's picking on some other things.
Sort of
handing me
like a
some fruit.
dumpling or a potato. Really delicious. If you haven't had it, check it out. One more cool thing I'm going to try. I've been to Jamaica many, many times. John's first trip, so I'm kind of trying to, every day I want John to, tomorrow for breakfast, John's going to have ackee, which is, a very popular plant here in Jamaica. Huge tree, pink fruit that opens up, splits with these 3 black seeds, and within those you get this yellowish egg-like looking substance, scrambled eggs, in fact.
Okay.
It's just delicious.
Hey,
So we're going to check it out tomorrow.
I'm checking. I'm excited. Everywhere I go, there's fruit, mangoes, and all these different fruits.
Papaya.
And papaya. I can't believe.
Nice berries.
I got something today, and it was amazing. So, you know what? I mean, Mark said when I got here, I was going to say I was going to live here. No, I'm going to eat fruit here every day.
Absolutely. We haven't even,
100%.
we barely tapped into the epic fruit. We're going to be on that for sure. Tomorrow, I don't think we're going to waste any time. We're probably going to get out to a ganja field.
No,
probably
we are.
start. Yeah.
Going to a field.
Going to create a new term for you guys out there. It's the FFF, which is Fresh Frozen Field Run.
Fresh frozen
And
field run.
yeah, we're going to be doing fresh frozen field runs, and I hope you guys can join us. I hope you guys keep watching Bubbleman's World. Check out John's channel, John H. Burfellow. You can check him out on YouTube.